We got a celebrity in the house, so everybody's dressed up. In 1990, Cleveland Gary led the NFL in touchdowns while also playing professional baseball for the Montreal Expos minor league organization. He's a former NFL first round draft pick of the Los Angeles Rams and an accomplished radio TV talk show host whose shows aired on Clear Channel Radio 94.3 FM and Comcast Cable TV Channel 17, WHDT Prime Time. Now, what you may or may not know is that Cleveland is a music connoisseur. And recently, on the Cleveland Gary Show, Beyond Sports, he interviewed a very good friend of Every.Black, Brother Sam Tate of Gospel Gems Radio. You know the place where God is groovy, Jesus is jamming, and the people are the stars of the show. Beyond sports and music, Cleveland is also a writer and author of 2 books, The Truth Behind the Ball and A Touchdown on Wall Street. Moving forward, giving back is Mr. Gary's corporate and community philosophy. And his business accomplishments have been nothing short of outstanding. He's owned over 15 different companies, 2 of the most notable, Black Shopping Channel, BSC, the nation's first Black-owned TV shopping channel, and Egret, a publicly traded company and newest credit reporting agency that provides people with a second chance to build their credit while paying their bills. Cleveland builds brands that make a difference and believes that in order to win, you have to play. And in order to play, you have to be on the field. Please join me in welcoming the Cleveland Steamer, a man of all seasons who knows how to win on and off the field, CEO of Gary Holdings Incorporated, Mr. Cleveland Gary.
Wow, what an amazing introduction. I didn't expect that, but thank you. What a fine job. Thank you. It's truly an honor to be here attending the 2022 Gala Awards. I want to thank Mr. Davies and his amazing staff, as well as the audience who attended the 2022 Gala Awards. When you talk about the power of technology, no borders and no boundaries, that's a pretty amazing topic. When you look at the advent of the internet and what it provides, the opportunities it provides for you and I and the world at large, it's pretty amazing. As a former professional athlete, I had to deal with a lot of challenges in my life, a lot of challenges coming from a background where I was raised by a single mother who we lived off of an $18,000 salary a year, my 2 sisters and I. So I know what it's like to struggle. I know what tough times are like. And my mother, who didn't have a chance to get an education, had to babysit her siblings. And so she always had an aspiration. She always had a goal to get an education and to make something of her life. But that opportunity didn't exist for her because back in the day, my grandmother had 13 kids and she had to stay in the house and babysit her younger siblings while they worked in the fields. We were migrants growing up. But she's always stressed education. And I remember as a young kid in junior high school, acting up in school, being the jock that I thought I was. And I'll never forget it. The principal got a hold of my uncle, who's a pastor who's in heaven now. And boy, he came to the house and boy, he jacked me up. He was a big guy. And from that moment on, I never gave her any hard times. I was acting up a little bit. My grades had slipped. And, but that moment I realized how hard this woman worked to put food on the table and keep the lights on. And how dare I screw up, in my grades. And from that moment on, I was an AB student from junior high school, very, very competitive. not only in sports. And the other side was I've always sat in front of the class, first or second row, always took copious notes and listened to the teacher. And I understood from that moment on the importance of education. Very, very important. And there's an old saying they call the dumb jock. And I wasn't going to be labeled as a dumb jock. And so, you may lose a few friends because you're so competitive. Okay, he's a great football player, he's a great baseball player, but how dare he come in here and challenge us in this classroom? So I've had my work cut out for me, dealing with, many challenges in life, but I give God the glory. And when you think about today's times in 2022, the internet has just exploded. Technology is just amazing. It creates the opportunity for people like you and I and the world at large to grab a hold of our dreams and put forth the action of manifesting those dreams into a reality. But what we must understand when you talk about the power of technology, what tags along with that is the word entrepreneurship. It's under the umbrella of entrepreneurship. You have different sectors, the healthcare sector, you have, the fintech, of course, industrial, biotech, and what have you. But the advent of the internet is just amazing. It's growing at a very adroit rate, and it's not going to slow down. And we get on board or we be left behind. And when you think about the possibilities as it relates to technology, they're endless. But we must understand the fundamentals of the foundation of technology is the platform entrepreneurship. We must keep that embedded in our minds. Now, entrepreneurship is very challenging. If anyone tells you that it's not, I don't think they're being straight with you. Entrepreneurship is hard. It's very challenging. Regardless if you made A's and B's in school, regardless if you went on to business school and a grad school, and I've taken every course you can think of, and beyond grad school, security license, and you have it. It's a lot of work. Entrepreneurship and becoming successful in that arena is very hard. I have quite a few lawyers in my family, and I chose, to take the entrepreneurship route. And why is that? Because that's where my heart was. And it's just something that I've always had a drive for, a passion for. Is it easy? No. When you really, really love to do something, you won't think about the money. You will do it every single day. Your ideas are always fresh. You're always creative. You're always innovative because it's in your heart. And I advise anyone, do what you love to do. If you don't love it, you're not going to be the best at it. You're not going to succeed at it. And I know the topic today is the power of technology, no borders and no boundaries. But if you don't have it in your God-given heart, you're not going to succeed at it. And it is my desire to motivate beyond educating people to have the drive, have the passion. Every single day you wake up, you're going to look forward to becoming a little bit better. And you will never think about it as work. So I tell people all the time, I've never had a job in my life except the NFL. That was the only employer I had. And when I think about, the NFL, that's the end result. You look at kids and, you say, wow, they made it. But when you look behind the curtains, it's a lot of work. Work ethic applies to every single phase of your life, as it relates to your career. And I had some very tough times, but sports gave me a huge foundation, no question. It taught me the discipline that it took to never quit, to never give up. And being that I am an African-American in a world that has looked at, when you look at a successful corporate CEO, it's the color is not there. So we've had to break many barriers, and we've had to go beyond to get to where we've gotten. And I just want to say to you, there's nothing you cannot achieve if you put your mind to it, if your heart is in it, and if you love what you do. A lot of the companies that I've owned emanated from tough times, challenges. The visions came, the ideas, sunk in. And no question, God gives us the ability to do everything that we do. And when I think about Gary Holdings and the companies that I've been able to foster and build and grow, I have to keep it real with you. I want you to understand one thing. I failed a lot of times in my life, and I'm very transparent about that. But I've learned as a human being. I've learned as a former professional athlete who performed at the highest level. When I led the NFL in touchdowns, was all pro, and I went back home, and I always felt that I can get a little bit better. And people can give you accolades, but if you truly love what you do and you are driven, you always feel like you can get a little bit better. It's endless. So it's fun. But I have to say to you that failure, people when you mention that word, people freak out. I mean, it's like, oh, you failed. Oh, you failed. I don't want to do business with anybody that has not had tough times. I do not want to do business with anyone that has not failed, because I know when the tough times come, they will not be around. I know, that's just reality. And the business acquaintance and partners that I deal with, they understand that. And I think that's truly been an advantage for me in staying the course, no matter what the obstacles are, and staying the course and not giving up. And people will eventually see your efforts, your hard work, your consistency, your unwavering tenacity to not be denied, because of the color of your skin, because of the underfunding. You just got to believe, you got to have faith, and you have to continue to move forward. But to say you're not going to have obstacles, to say you're not going to fail, to say that God is just going to wave a magic wand and you're going to be great and successful, you're kidding yourself. That's just not reality. That's just not the way he's operated in my life and my colleagues that have been very successful. But it's the failures that creates the knowledge, the drive, and it creates a new source of energy inside of you where you start to see endless possibilities open up. But if you're not willing to go through the fire, you're not going to be able to see the light. And when I talk about Gary Holdings, the companies that I've owned, and I looked at the challenges I've had, I go back and I reevaluate them, and I see what I did wrong and what I could have done better. But one thing have always been embedded in my mind is to never quit. That's the key. And you get involved, you get so immersed in what you're doing. But the key to all of it is the vision that God gives us individually as well as collectively. It's the vision that he gives us. And you will not rely on yourself. You will be more appreciative of the advancements you start to make moving forward. Sustainability. Now you're able to stand on a firmer ground. I don't look at the money. There's so many opportunities, so many avenues I could have taken. I could have went on ESPN, been a commentator, make $1 million a year. But it wasn't about the money. It's about where my heart was, what drives me, what's in my heart. I'm only human. So it's obvious God has put the ideas inside of us. And so you don't ever have to feel less than, left out. You have to follow your heart. And I do believe family always comes first before business, without question. I just believe God has an amazing way of being a teammate when we don't do it our way. But he never said you're going to be exempt and you don't have to work at it. You're kidding yourself. I've never seen anyone who was so good as a human being to where he just waved the magic wand and you're great and you're successful. There's so many things we don't understand. His ways are not our ways and his thoughts are not our thoughts, but we have to believe and we have to persevere, and most importantly, have faith. Now, as it relates to Gary Holdings, when you look at the Black Shopping Channel and you look at Egret, man, it's been a hell of a journey, but an amazing journey. And if I can do some things different, I'm sure I would. But I've been so busy, I haven't had a chance to look back, look straight ahead. And when I do look back, it's only to evaluate. It's to reference what I can do better. And as it relates to Black Shopping Channel, I remember 8 years ago, we started the channel. You know, I had this vision and I went to Dish Network, and initially it was Healthway Shopping Network. I got a contract with Dish Network to be in 14.5 million homes. And you're talking about one of the largest carriers in the United States of America, DirecTV, Spectrum, Comcast via Xfinity, and Dish Network. And now you have the new telcos. You have AT&T, Uverse, you have Verizon, and the over-the-air channels. And we've been very, very successful, but that didn't happen overnight. That's what I want you to understand. We only had one carriage. You know, there's been a lot of fighting, a lot of headbutting, you know, with Comcast and all these major carriages. They looked at us and they laughed and said, how dare you? You a minority, a Black Shopping Channel, you tell me you want to be right beside QVC and Home Shopping Network. These companies do $2-3 billion a quarter. You want to be in this position? Where's your experience? Where's your $50 million? Where's whatever? But you know, we're all abiding citizens in this country. And I was not going to be denied by them. I wasn't going to quit calling. And I bought a couple cameras and I had no idea how to use the camera. Ex-NFL player, remember, you know, you're talking, you know, first round draft pick, led the NFL in touchdowns. I took all that off. That was behind me. I said, but this is the now. We're talking legacy. We're talking about making a difference in small business owners' lives. I got to leave the football field behind me. Of course, you remember me from those days, but I want to make a difference. And I remember going to Detroit. That was my first expo, the Black Expo. And we had a booth there. And it was history. We recorded so many small business owners. And I kept knocking on the door of Comcast, kept knocking on the door of Dish, kept knocking on the door at that time of Time Warner, kept knocking on the door of Charter at that time. And I said, we deserve to be on a network. We as an African-American people spend $1.3 trillion a year buying products. We spend a lot of money. In our community, we only keep that dollar 4 hours. In every other ethnicity, they keep it for 6 days. Now, I know the topic is the power of technology, no borders, no boundaries. And assuming you thought I would talk 100% in that area. But I want to talk to you about succeeding, being successful, understanding what we're dealing with as a small business owner via the entrepreneur. But finally, we got to Dish Network. I flew to the headquarters, got a meeting, says you got it. 14.5 million homes, the first minority network in all history of America to land on a major carriage. Never been done before. It's not about ego. It's about fairness. It's about justice. And we were very fortunate to do it. And so we aired about a year and a half, a year and a half. It drug out to about 2 years. But the moral of the story is we could not continue at that pace. Our bill was $500,000 a month. So I negotiated with them to get it down to $385,000 a month. And I was writing those checks for quite some time. We just could not sustain that kind of money at the time. But I'm going to tell you what happened. They put us up in the nosebleed section, like channel 274. The shopping networks, they're called paid for TV channels. They're different from the advertising channels where you go out and get advertising. There's a little bit more perks. But we were in 247 paying $500,000 a month, $385,000 a month. But QVC and Home Shopping Network were like channel 7 and channel 6 with dual channels. So the chances of survival were slim because we were in the nosebleed section versus the 50-yard line. And so it's the little things, the devil is in the details, that can make or break a business. And I tell entrepreneurs that all the time. I don't care how great your business plan is. I don't care if you have an MBA. I don't care if you have a BBA. I don't care if you have my security license and all the degrees that I have. Nothing is going to stop the unforeseen from happening. The economy change, industry change, laws change, things you can't even prepare for. And I write very comprehensive business plans, but that's part of being an entrepreneur. You have to understand that. It's just a part of it. And so we had to go off the air, and we were on Time Warner in a state of North Carolina for a little while, and we were on Charter. So we didn't quit. We kept moving forward. We kept moving forward. But here's the moral of the story. Many years later, 9 years later, I could have walked away. But we were blessed and fortunate. Just 2 months ago, I signed a contract that put us in 80 million homes. And our launch date is May 30th. The contract I signed encompasses Comcast via Xfinity, both, well, in one. Charter via Spectrum, DirecTV Dish Network, ATTU versus Verizon. And we picked up, of course, all the digital channels, Roku and Amazon TV. So we're very excited about that. But that's been a long journey. I mean, I understand if I told you the years and the days that it took to get to this point, a lot of people would have walked away. I've had a lot of people say, you'll never make it. You'll never do it. And I've gotten older, but I just didn't understand what the word quit means. And so we've worked very diligently. Now, we look to put small business owners on that channel because I want you to understand as an entrepreneur, when these major shopping channels like a QVC or Home Shopping Network have a vendor on their channel, within 48 hours, they have to gross somewhere around $2 million. So with the Black Shopping channel, at $1.3 million we consume as consumers. We want our vendors, based upon our projections, you come on this channel within 48 hours, you should easily gross $1.5 to $2 million. But that's because you have access to over 100 million people, 24 hours, 7 days a week. And what we've negotiated now, we will never be in a nosebleed section. We will have dual channels, and that's been negotiated. So that's the story of the Black Shopping channel. And I want you to spread the word. I've had the pleasure of talking with Jim a little bit about, entrepreneurship, and I'll talk about Equal here. I don't know how much time I have left, but raise your hand anytime you want me to stop. But as an entrepreneur, I want you to embed this in your mind. Consumer. As Black folk, we should always think consumer first, over and above entrepreneurship. You can have the greatest idea in the world. You can have all the knowledge and all the education. You can access grants, government programs, and all of that. But if you don't have consumer participation, you don't have a business. And the problem we've had here in America, we've lacked the understanding as a consumer where to spend our money. That's the problem. You know, we can take the power of technology with no borders and no boundaries, and we can create business plans and write software. We can put you in a business and, you know, provide educational tools on what business you should structure. Is it an LLC, sole proprietor, 1120S, and why are you structuring it this way? Your board of directors, your advisory board. We can teach you that. That's just education. That's just the prerequisite of walking in the door of entrepreneurship. But it's no guarantee for success. You have to, I went on the channel today and peruse other sites of color, and I buy and I purchase because I want to stay in the groove. I want to stay in the mode. I want it to be understood in my own heart what it's going to take to build bridges over troubled waters. Now, funding is very important. You need funding. You got to run and manage that business. You got a cost of product, you got a cost of service to generate revenue. In addition to that, you got G&A expenditures, you got EBITDA. If you raise the money, you got shareholders. If you go and borrow the money, you got to pay it back. Now, I know we can say grants and government programs, but let me tell you something. Been there, did it. No one is going to sit up and give you all that money just to compensate one person. It's tough. It's tough. I'm not saying it can't be a variable in the equation of your funding. If you see the opportunity there, government programs, take advantage of it. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, the power is behind the number as it relates to consumer participation. You don't want to start a business, become a vendor of any sort, whether it's retail, internet, whatever, you need the funding. Now, as it relates to, as we shift gears here and transition into ECRIT, you can let me know how much time I have left here. ECRIT is the new credit bureau when you talk about Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. These credit bureaus have been around a long time, for many decades, probably before I was born. And many minorities think the credit bureaus are owned by the government. Absolutely not. Thank you, Jim. Absolutely not. They're not. And I've had some bad experiences, and the idea just originated. And I said, you know, why? Why do we need a credit bureau to help the underserved, the mid-purse, the mid-cap, the millionaire? It's not just for minorities. You know, it's on record that 80% of the American population have inaccuracies on their credit report. And I went to the airport one night and had a very bad experience. I had the money on my card, and I said, this is ridiculous. And I was at the airport till 11 o'clock, and I didn't like that. That was not cool. And just some silly error, you know, that I was totally unaware of. That's one of the reasons why I started ECRIT. That's a true story. And I think, you know, with ECRIT being publicly traded, I went through so many ropes. I had Healthway Shopping Network. It was a public reporting company, investors, millions of dollars. And it was just a tremendous, tremendous task for me. And ECRIT just came about in such a way, it took years. We had to go through a lot of filings. It was very, very, very tough. But I will say it's a program that could bank the unbankable, that does bank the unbankable. And we're the only credit bureau that's considered a B2C model, where you create your own ECRIT credit report, you upload and pay your own bills, and in real time it automates your credit report. Therefore, you can never have an inaccuracy, ever, ever, because you report and control your own credit report. In addition to that, ECRIT Loan Corp, we're in the process of consummating that corporation to where we take your credit report, we look at it, we review it, and we don't look at your Equifax, Experian, or TransUnion. We base it on your ECRIT credit report, and our lending corp will lend you the money. And so the good thing about it, it's publicly traded. And I want you to understand one thing. Why not own stock in a company you buy products or utilize services? If we collectively as a people understood that concept, nothing could stop us, nothing. if you can own equity in a company you buy products and services from, if minority folks get wind of that and they collectively say, hey, I'm not going to be a crab in a bucket, I'm going to push and promote, when we talk about becoming a consumer, we get skeptical, honest, we get scared, non-trusting. But if Kenny Trout or Jeff Bezos said it, you go out and spend your money because of the color of the skin, because that's the way you've been programmed. And we got to unprogram ourselves and realize that there's nothing we can achieve if we don't see, nothing we can achieve if we understand the fundamentals of how to build wealth. So I encourage you to go to my website, clevelandgary.com, and there's a social media network that I'm building at a very fast pace. And it's free to sign up, doesn't cost you anything. Post your comments, questions about entrepreneurship. I myself, one of the entrepreneurs, will answer your questions. We're here to help build and grow your business, put you in a position to create wealth and reach back and help other people. And this has been an amazing 20 minutes for me. And I just want to thank you for this opportunity, Jim. And I commend your efforts and what you're doing. And the staff, you're just great. And the audience, thank you for participating. I look forward to talking with you in the near future. And once again, thank you for inviting me to the 2020 Gala Awards. Take care of yourself. Good night. God bless. See you in the future.
Well, thank you.
Oh my goodness. That was absolutely amazing. I mean, the brands that you're building really are making a difference. And wow, BSC, game changer. Ecrid, game changer. Cleveland Gary, still in the game, running major plays to strengthen our community. We appreciate you so much, sir. And here at Every.Black, we like to say thank you with more than just our words. So here to present you with a little token of appreciation is our CEO and founder, Mr. Jimmy Davies.
Of course, we're virtual. We can't give it to you tonight, but we will be ordering this and engraving it for you. And I just need to get your address. And we just want to show our appreciation for being our speaker this evening. Shared a lot of valuable, great information. Actually, I could listen even to you even longer, but we just have awards that we need to hand out this evening. But I just want to thank you so much. And I want to thank Brother Sam Tate. I think he's on the call because he introduced me to Mr. Gary through the Joel Dudley Senior Legacy Project. So I just want to say again, thank you. And we will be engraving this for you and ordering it and having it mailed to you. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I look forward to working with you, Jim, and your staff and at Every.Black. Thank you too.
Thank you.